Welcome to the war. It's been a while since I posted a video. Real life kind of getting in the way of my hobby time and my channel. And also I moved house. It's been an eventful summer, but I'm glad to be back, and this might be a little bit of a rough and ready video as I'm still getting my new game room kind of situated and set up, but I've had the itch to play a game for a while now, and certainly put something on my YouTube channel. So I thought I'd take the moment to do that. So I've got a small game that I'm going to be putting on today. I'm excited to be doing this. For those of you that remember my last video, which was really covering Historicon and some the games and things that I played there, you'll know that I played a game of Rebels and Patriots, but using Napoleonic forces. It was an absolutely incredible game. I really enjoyed it, and in the ensuing months, I've really been thinking about the idea of finally getting my painted Napoleonic forces unpacked and on the game table. And as soon as I got hooked, pretty obsessed about doing that, it was time to move house. So with that being said, I got a small table set up here, or the size of table for this game. It's a 4-foot square. I'm going to be playing with these forces here. I've got my French here and my British here. I'll get into the specifics there. And it's a scenario that I just kind of, have been noodling on. It's funny, even while all of my hobby stuff's been in transit and packed up, I've still, definitely been thinking about what I want to do, and different, it's just the way the hobby goes, right? It's our happy place to think about when we're, busy doing other things. But I thought about this scenario, and essentially what's going to happen is I've got this small kind of town, or set up here, and in the middle is this milkmaid model. I always just thought it was kind of fun little scenario piece. They're going to be attempting to stay away from either side, both the British and the French. You can imagine they're either perhaps a spy, or holding some other information that they've got at the enemy, or either of the forces. And I'm going to be rolling some good old-fashioned Warhammer artillery dice to determine a range and a direction. And every turn, I'm going to roll those and see which way they go. And at the end of the game, if they're captured, then they're worth 3 honor points or victory points, in addition to the standard other ways to earn victory points in Rebels and Patriots. So again, I'm kind of free-flowing this a little bit and thinking through things, but let's go take a look at the forces, and again, I'll talk a little bit about how I kind of devise those. So starting with the British, and this is definitely something, that I realize Rebels and Patriots is, ideally suited for kind of American War of Independence or American Civil War games and the like. But I feel it works, and having played this demo game at Historicon, I really think it transitions well into the Napoleonic period and kind of the flavor it still captures. So I think it really works well, and I know there are at least 1 or 2 Osprey books that cover the Napoleonic period. I don't have them, and I'm gonna be honest, I haven't heard good things about them. So but I like Rebels and Patriots, so why not? So with that being said, yes, I've got a 24-point force here of British. You can see I've got 1, 2, 3 units of line, British line. They follow the standard character profile that's found in the Rebels and Patriots book. I've then got this unit of rifles who are skirmishers, 6 of them, and I've given them the sharpshooter ability. Slightly out of character for a game this size, but it fit the points of what I was looking to do. So we've got a medium field gun here, and then our commander at the back here. Now what I'm going to do with the commanders in this game, again, this is really more for aesthetic purposes. I'm going to just include them in one of the units, probably going to be stuck in a line unit, but they are not going to count as an extra model. They are literally just a token to show which unit they go with. And similarly for those saying like, oh my gosh, you've got all these flags for such small units. Yes, absolutely. This is 12 men taking 2 flags for a walk. But again, I just think it looks better. It's purely just for aesthetic purposes. I think it looks good. I could switch those out with other ones, but where would be the fun in that? Plus, I like to keep all of these organized. So that for me, that's a good way. All right, let's go take a look at the Frenchies. So yep, similar over here. I've got 3 units of line. Again, all using the same standard profile or that's found within Rebels and Patriots. I've got a unit of Old Guard. They are, let's see, I did give them, they are what's it called, shock infantry. And I've also given them the veterans rule. So they're the most expensive unit in the game, as they should be, I guess. And then we've got, back over here, we've got a unit of hussars, 6 of them. And they count as light cavalry, again, the kind of the standard cavalry of the Rebels and Patriots book, not shock cavalry. So got those, and then again, this commander here, he's our leader. He'll get attached to a unit, and we'll figure out where they go. So we've got the French there, and then just I'll try and zoom out a little bit. The table, 4x4, as I said, and we'll just set up on opposing sides and start to make a game of it. Here we go. Okay, forces are set up, and hopefully I can be a little more lucid now with my description of how this scenario is going to work. So I've got the British on this side. Basically, they formed up in a battle line, cannon up here on the hill, giving a good view this way to the center of the table or the battlefield. Unit here with the associated commander. Another unit of line here. We've got the rifles or the skirmishers. In this side, they're going to be able to run across that rough terrain in front of them without impediment. So I thought that was smart. And then the British going to squeeze through, or the other line regiment going to squeeze through on this side. Opposing them, let's go take a look over here with the French. We'll start on this side. We've got to their left, we've got this unit of line with another unit of line next to them. The other unit of line on the road. Roads are really more for scenic effect here than anything. The Old Guard with the associated commander attached to them. Gonna be here. And then scouting out on the edge of the battlefield here, we've got the cavalry or the hussars. So they're there. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this scenario. So as I said before, milkmaid objective in the middle of the table, gonna randomly move using the Warhammer artillery dice. Whoever can get within, touching distance of the objective is going to earn themselves 3 valor points or victory points, however you want to describe those. And I'm going to try, again, I'm sort of formulating this scenario myself, so, for goodness if it's not balanced, but I think it's interesting or unique enough as it is. And I'm going to have the game run to 8 turns. And after that, we'll start rolling to see if we have extended turns. If rolling this random direction, the objective bumps into a building or moves into a building, I'm just going to have them run up to it. And then that's as far as they go. So we're not going to be hiding in buildings or anything like that. But they can, and they'll move through other terrain without impediment. Again, we're going to assume both sides want to get hold of that objective for whatever reason, and likely that person will win the game. So with that being said, let's move on to turn 1. And before I do, I just want to say, and again, this is a lot coming back to the channel. I'm glad to be doing this, but I'm also really glad this is sort of a milestone for me in that it's my first Napoleonic game on the channel. And for those that know or don't know, or watched other videos that I've done in the past, this has been the period that I've wanted to play the most for literally years. It's always like, I got into historicals with World War II gaming, with Flames of War and with bolt action, and I really saw this as like the jewel in the crown of historical wargaming as it relates to how good everything looks on the field. And it's this is obviously a small game, a very small game, but I'm hopeful that I can build up enough forces to do that. I'm really going to talk a little bit more about that at the end of the game, or once I've recapped like what my future plans are from hobby focus. But for now, I'll stop rambling. Just really excited to play this game and get going. So all right, on to turn one. Turn one, and we've already seen some high-level fighting. So really, for the French, they were successful in passing every activation. So they all just advanced across the battlefield. I'm rolling for the objective moving, and in this turn she didn't move. I rolled a direction, but an exclamation point or a misfire by Warhammer terms. So I'm going to count that as just not moving. Then over on the British side, they were successful in activating everybody except this unit of line on the right. They failed their activation. As I said, the plan was for the rifles to progress unimpeded through the difficult terrain. This unit moved around the barn. This unit with the commander moved ahead, and then the cannon was able to fire at the French hussars and did inflict one casualty. Now, as I've got these based two-door base, I just added a marker. You'll see that's not, this is quite handy for those plumes, being able to put that on there. So that's good. They passed their morale test, so no further action really there. And just to that point about units being on, or models being on multiple bases, or multiple models to a base, I'm going to play this so you'll notice every model is slightly separate. There's a gap between them, but if I give any of these units a close ranks or close order activation, then I'll stick them together. So their default, which is to be loosely formed, is how they're currently standing with the bases apart. If they close up, they'll be stuck together. So, all right, I think that's everything for turn one. Let's move on to turn two. Turn two, to get things started, the Milkmaid moved back towards the British line, but just a couple of inches. So really fairly ineffectual. I can already see, I think there's going to be a bit of a duel between the British rifles and the French hussars. They're both the units that have the highest amount of movement, and both certainly going to be contesting over there. Depends which way she moves in the next turn. This unit of French line failed to activate. Wherever this unit did, and again advanced along the side of the road. The Old Guard and, as I mentioned, the Hussars both advanced forward, and so did this unit of line, but they took 2 casualties there from the cannon up on the hill that fired, well, first of all, fired over the hill, or fired off the hill, but also activated before the other unit moved in front of it on the British side. Over to them, as I said, the rifles advanced, but they were canny enough to keep their distance outside of 12 inches from the Hussars, so that they can't attack them or charge them in the next turn. Let's see, then yeah, these 2 units of line both advanced. This unit got attacked together finally and did the same thing. So yeah, I think turn 3 we might actually see someone make a play for the objective. And I'm gonna play this, and again, I think at this point it's okay to address this. It's whoever is owning the objective at the end of the game. It's not like a recurring or automatic 3 victory points or valor points. We're just gonna count that as whoever's in control at the end of the game. So let's move on to turn 3. Turn 3, and the French most definitely have the upper hand. So let's get the negatives out of the way first. This unit of line failed to activate. However, this unit managed to pull off a move, again, further down the road. The Hussars pulled back, but as fortune would have it, the objective, the Milkmaid, moved 4 inches towards the French line this time, obviously not liking the sight of the British coming down or bearing down on them. So the old guard activated and was able to come into contact, and so are in control of the objective. However, the British were able to use the riflemen here, who have the sharpshooter ability, giving them a range of 24 inches. They were able to inflict 3 casualties on the old guard there. Now, they were able to pass their morale test, but that's not insignificant. And moving over to the British, unfortunately, this unit of line here, again, unable to activate. So they're kind of standing around. The cannon also failed to activate, which left the responsibility down to these 2 units of line. Now, the one on the right, I was preparing to just completely open fire with both units. They're within long range of the old guard, but the unit on the right here failed to activate, and the unit on the left only inflicted 2 hits, which at long range was not going to cut it. So an unfortunate turn for the British, but as I'm already seeing the French being in control of the objective, they're going to start to withdraw, which means we've got a game of cat and mouse on our hands here. As the French will start to pull back, the British will start to chase them. Let's move on to turn 4. Turn 4, and while the old guard continued to withdraw with the objective in hand, the British now are throwing absolutely everything at them in order to try to get them break. So far, they've lost, the old guard have lost 7 casualties, so they have a permanent disorder marker on them, now being below half strength. Outside of that, the other units really pulled away from fire or out of the way of harm's way. So you can see the hussars kind of tucked behind the church, and the units over here, the 3 line units, all tucked in behind the woods. And I'm going to imagine this unit in the next turn is going to form line and hopefully start dishing out some damage. So that being said, over on the British side, the rifles fired into the grenadiers. The line moved up. This group of line infantry moved out of the way, enabling the cannon to shoot at them. And between the cannon and the rifles, they really are doing a number on the old guard. But their morale is holding. That extra discipline and some decent dice rolling has really helped them. Once again, this unit over here, I feel like every time I play Rebels and Patriots, there's one unit just never seems to do anything. It's typically a colonial militia unit, but in this game, it's some well-disciplined redcoats. Anyway, let's move on to turn 5. End of turn 5, and the French are really in command here. So all 3 units of line have basically formed up into ranks or closed order, and are now certainly within a good firing position over here to start leveling some of the British line. Over here, the old guard continued to take casualties. They were just within range of the rifles one last turn, and they were able to inflict enough casualties to leave only 3 men left in the unit. But they're still in control of the objective. They do have 1 permanent disorder marker, but if they're able to hold on, I think 1 more turn, I think they'll be safe. I didn't specifically outline the notion of running off the board with the objective. I think that's out of the scope of what I'm thinking here. But I think they are basically trying to get out of range. I'm not having them run off the board, but I think they're certainly looking to be in control in that regard. Hussars, again, staying out of trouble behind the church. The Brits, let's see here. This unit in the center failed their activation. The rifles fired. The other unit of line there on the left advanced, as did this unit here. And the cannon, for what it's worth, just moved over a couple of inches. So, desperate times for the British. Not quite sure how they're going to pull this off if they can. But we'll see where this goes. On to turn 6. The British are closing in turn 6, but it's still looking like a fairly improbable task. So the old guard retreated to the edge of the board, out of range of anything else that's firing. The French hussars stayed here, again, kind of ducking out of range. The two units here of French line didn't do anything, but the unit, they're sort of just keeping their powder dry. But this unit here did open up fire on that unit of British line down the road, and inflicted 2 casualties. And a disorder marker resulted in that. They failed their morale check. Elsewhere, everything for the British activated except the rifles. Unfortunately, they might have played their part in this game. We'll see. But elsewhere, both units advanced. Both line units advanced. The other line unit over here, close around the other side of the building. And the cannon sort of did a little sneak attack, shooting at the line here. The cannon's done quite a deal of damage, I would say, in this game, putting 2 more casualties on the unit over there, which it would have been more considering they're in close order. But you can see, I think I actually still have the dice where they were, just needing 3s. They weren't so fortunate in that regard. But with that being said, yeah, we're going to start to really have some tough decisions to make here, especially the British. And I can actually see the French throwing some speed bumps in the way of that objective so that they can't fire at the old guard anymore. So, all right, let's move on to turn 7. Turn 7, and again, the old guard still back here and holding the objective. The French hussars came around, or attacked here into the British infantry, closing with them, fighting in a melee combat. They were able to inflict 2 casualties, push them back. They in turn took 1 casualty, and then the other unit, let me see here. And then in their associating turn, the same unit fired back at them, caused the casualty, and they failed their morale check abysmally and retired from the field. So at least the British were able to claim 1 unit so far. Elsewhere, the French, these 2 units of line didn't do anything, just staying out of harm's way. The unit that had formed close order fired into this unit again, and was able to put on another disorder marker, so they're going to have to rally in the next turn. They had to retreat half a move, which blocked line of sight for the cannon here. However, the rifles were able to advance ahead, and now they've got a rather tempting target here if they can withstand the initial fire from that unit of line next to the building, and this unit failed to activate. So turn 8, I think there is a feasible way the British could pull off some sort of victory here. I think they're going to have to withstand, or the rifles are going to have to withstand fire from there, and if they're within range of the old guard, they might be able to inflict the casualties to get them or to rout them. Unlikely, but we'll see. There's a glimmer of hope. Let's see how this works out. On to the final turn. Okay, turn 8, and just a slight clarification, there is potential that this is not the final turn. I'm going to start to roll to see if we have another turn, and that's going to be absolutely essential because the British, the rifles unit here, or the skirmish unit, despite taking 2 casualties from the closing fire from the French line here, or the close order fire, I should say, they were able to inflict 2 casualties over on the commander's unit here. So there is just 1 figure left in the unit. I tried to look through the rules to see if there was a rule about having just a single figure left in a unit if it still stands. I don't see anything that says it doesn't. By this point, we're definitely talking about leader casualties, but as I'm not playing a campaign, I don't think that really matters for this game. Now, that's a bunch of rules talk to say, this unit's now got 2 disorder markers on it. If it takes 1 more, they're out of here. And the objective will be unheld, meaning the British will have won, having eliminated a unit. So another turn could be absolutely pivotal for the French or the British here. So I'm just quickly looking for my rule so I don't come off the camera here. If we have an extra game, or how we do an extra turn. I'm flipping through the rule book here in real time because I know I've seen this. After turn 8, roll a die, and at the turn's already played. If result is 14 or more, this will be the last turn. Okay, so here's the dice roll. Forgive that little dalliance. I was doing that in real time. So we're going to add 8 plus 5, 13. So we will see another turn. Oh, exciting. All right, we're going to move on to the 9th turn. Let's see what happens. Turn 9, not so great for the British. The 95th Rifles, or the rifle unit of skirmishers over here, took a number of casualties that resulted in just 1 figure being left, and they've had to retreat after they failed a morale check. This cannon, on the other hand, fired over here into that unit of French line that was like formed up over there, and it inflicted a couple more casualties. They've got an extra 1 on them there, but they're holding. They passed a morale check. All 3 of the line units moved up. Again, we're trying to look for maybe 1 more turn where they can really challenge the Old Guard or try to remove them from the table. So with that being said, we're looking for that 14 is the magic number. So I'll roll it here. We're going to add 9 plus 3 is 12. So we'll see 1 more turn, or another turn at least. Let's see what happens. Turn 10. This unit of French line could have foiled the British, I think, for good by activating and moving so that they would be the closest target that the British would have to shoot at. They failed their activation. That just left this unit on the right of line to activate and bring all of their fire to bear on just the single French Old Guard that was left. They also failed their activation. So outside of that, this unit of line moved up. Maybe if there's another turn, they'll be able to shoot them off the table. And then over here, that unit of line took fire, which had to withdraw, but then advanced again. The rifleman's fairly ineffective and the cannon's out of range. So are we gonna have an 11th turn? 10 plus 6, nope, 16. The game's over. The French win 3-1. So let me just do a quick recap. Just a few closing words on the game. It was certainly one that I thought the French were quite literally running away with at the beginning of the game. And then I feel like the British really tried to claw themselves back towards the end. And at one point, I really thought they'd made it. The rifles shooting into the remaining Old Guard really had them worried. And if they rolled just 1 point lower on their morale check, they would have routed. They would have been off the table. So that was certainly an exciting moment of the game. But most of all, I'm just really glad to finally get a game with my Napoleonic miniatures on the table, even if it's a small one. I've got a lot of plans for what I want to do moving forward with my Napoleonic forces. Definitely want to build an Austrian army. I've been doing a lot more reading, and I can certainly see myself spending quite a bit of time in the Napoleonic period. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this was entertaining to watch as much as it was to play. It's been a fun game, and I do recommend using the Rebels and Patriots rules for some Napoleonic skirmishing. It really does lend itself to that. So thanks for watching.